Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, and we are starting a new video series. Jason was supposed to be here this week. Hopefully, we can do a catch-up video with him in the near future so we can get him into the future ones. Tim, a subscriber, longtime subscriber at this point. You've been with us, almost 7 years? Maybe longer?
When did I move back to the area? Actually, it's only been about 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 years. You've been with us for a while, though. This was kind of inspired a little bit by conversations you and I have had. You like to show that, you go on the Facebook groups and you find a lot of really good deals and such on there. I know your main interest is Silver Age and Golden Age DC for the most part.
DC and just obscure DC characters that I enjoy, that I think are rather underappreciated or I've read, and I think the stories are great and they'll come to light at some point.
Yeah, you've brought in some great books. You brought in one Batman book to be graded, and one of our customers was like, "Is he selling that?"
It's a joy in life to try to tease others with it.
Which one was that again?
That was, I think it was Batman number 4.
Batman number 4.
Yeah.
So, as I said, Tim loves the older DC books. So what this video series is going to be is, for the first week, we are each being given 500 fictional dollars, although Tim is using real dollars, apparently.
There'll be a combination. I still have a budget.
And then every 2 weeks, we will add $200 to our pot. And we can use that money to press our books. We can use it to grade our books. We can use it to buy more books. It depends on, or we can save it for the next episode. Maybe we have our eye on a book and we want to save that for that one coming up. Like we have a lot of faith in it or whatever reason. Yeah. So the rules that we have is if we do get it pressed, we have to wait 2 to 4 weeks for it to come back from pressing. And then after that, we have to wait the
year.
6 months I think it's 6 months for if you don't go through their pressing to get it back from them. We can also pay for the fast track if you like. Obviously, it's up to the person whether they think it's worth it.
Just no PGX.
No PGX. I mean, you can buy PGX if you want, but
that's all right.
So we can also liquidate our books at any time. We will go by the fair market value for the grade that we're selling it at. If we buy a raw book, we are going to determine the grade by consensus. Although, I don't know whether you saw it, there's a Facebook group called Making the Grade, so we could also go through that. The only problem with that is we would have to provide pictures of like eBay, and I think the people there might get a little irked that we're using it as like a...
Yeah, I think if we come to our own kind of
conclusion,
consensus as a group, that'll work.
Okay. That'll
work well, especially if we have the book in hand and we can all...
Look at it.
And then if we do physically get it graded, then that's what
we'll go with.
Is what it is, yeah.
Okay. We can definitely do that then. Am I forgetting any other rules that we had discussed?
If it's a new book.
Oh, yeah. We can buy new books at cover price. We can also ask to put it on our list 3 weeks before it comes out, as long as we hit it before the FOC and we still get it at cover price. If it comes out and it's above market price or above cover price, then we have to pay the market price.
Yeah.
So we're working this under the same parameters as if we were consumers buying it in the real market, and that's what we're going with. I mean, if we can find a book that's below market price on eBay or in a store or whatever, obviously we can count that as...
Yeah, I think part of the fun of this will be not only going after those kind of underappreciated books, but just showing that if you hunt enough and you kind of
know where to
look and what to look for, that you can still find good deals even on popular books at the moment.
Yeah, so I mean, another inspiration for the series is a lot of people say that they use the hobby to fund their hobby. So they use it to move up to that next book that they're looking for, or trying to buy that grail that they've always been hunting for, or what have you. Yep. So without further ado, I guess we'll start. Do you want me to go first since I'm already standing up here?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. Let's see what you got.
So I believe I have 11 books here, but I may make an adjustment before the end because I saw something that I did not know about, honestly, when I was perusing the groups, and I think that's another good point. Stay in these comic book groups and you'll learn more than what you know already. So an example of that was yesterday I posted a picture of the newsstand Marvel Age number 90. So it's got a beautiful Todd McFarlane cover. So I was looking through the boxes in my basement, and I came across that yesterday. And I was like, oh, I think I saw that this was worth some money. A 9/8 of that book sells for $1,000, or the last one sold for $1,000. Because you don't see that many newsstand Marvel Age ones, because those were more advertisements than they were like actual comic books or anything.
Yeah.
So I posted that in one of the Making the Grade group that I was talking about just a couple minutes ago. And one of the guys was like, I didn't even know newsstands existed to this book. And another guy was like, I didn't know this book was worth money. So, so clearly there can be comic book shops out there who also have it slip through their like, they don't know that like the Marvel Age is
Right.
worth whatever.
Well, there's so much material.
And prices fluctuate so wildly.
Right. And just like if you haven't, and that's why it'd be fun. Everybody reads different things, so everybody pulls different characters that they love out of those that eventually may or may not make it into the mainstream. And so that's, at least for my choices, some of the books I picked are characters I enjoy from also various mediums, not necessarily just the books, but growing up with them or things like that I think are fun.
Well, the one that I made an adjustment for, I showed you before we started it, and you were like, oh, I didn't know that was...
Right.
So again, like, there's so much out there, like, you just don't know what you don't know, and if the more groups you're in, the more you'll learn, and
Yeah.
so. All right. So my first one is Batman 475. I found this one for $20, a newsstand edition. First Renee Montoya. I feel like Gotham is that's been rumored to be a show coming up here soon. It's supposed to be focused more on the Gotham Central kind of storyline, but I can see her being a very vital part of that series.
Absolutely, that, and with potential Birds of Prey spin-offs, and them actually kind of maybe moving the movies towards a legit Birds of Prey. If they keep her in there, it could be that we see her turning into the Question.
Yeah.
Which would be a cool character at some point to make it in.
Yes, for being a pretty prominent character that like a lot of comic book fans know about, I feel like it's undervalued at $20 for a newsstand edition. I saw direct editions cheaper than that, but I figured going with a high grade newsstand would probably be the best way to go.
Yeah.
So that's what I went with for that one. For the next one, I went with a Batman villain, and I went with a lot of him. So I found a 3-pack offer on eBay. And I think what we'll do is we'll include the links if we haven't purchased them ourselves, like in the
that's a
description.
great idea. If other people are really interested.
Yeah. So for this one, it was a 3-pack of Killer Croc, 523, 524, 525 of Detective. That one was $95, a little bit more than what I wanted to spend, but all of them looked like they were in very, very nice condition. And obviously I'll show you the picture of this later, and maybe we'll do a follow-up video where we do like what we think the grades would come out as.
I think what we could do is ultimately post like our breakdown of pricing and things as well too, so that people can keep track of our balances and our assign collective grading.
Ideally, if we have time.
That's right.
So I felt like $95 for those was a pretty good deal, though. Again, for a prominent DC villain, prominent Batman villain.
Yeah.
Again, and then I went with $357. I found one for $101, including shipping. Again, I feel like that's a pretty solid dollar amount for a good Batman villain that everybody knows. And then the final one I went with those was $359, and that one was a newsstand edition for $35. So I felt like all of those were pretty good pickups for long term.
Remind me of the 359.
That is all. So all of them seem to like have either cameo, first appearance, sort of like claims to the. So I figured if you go with all of them, and then whichever one.
Oh, okay. It's bound. One of them's bound to strike.
Exactly, and I mean, so all this combined, it was about a $250 investment, maybe a little bit less than that. And like I said, you're covering all your bases, and if one of them is declared the winner, all the rest of them are going to raise in value also, just not as significantly as the one. So, and then sticking with Batman, because obviously Batman's always a safer bet than a lot of different characters. I went with Detective 525, first Jason Todd.
Nice.
So there was a newsstand Mark Jewelers one listed for $108. So.
That's a good one because I know the Mark Jewelers collectors. I think it's becoming more appreciated as books are common and they're trying to find something more interesting with respect to them. And Mark Jeweler seems to be one that really, because they were on, if people don't know the background, I think the assumption is that the Mark Jeweler's inserts means that they were sold on military bases. And so there are fewer of them. They're usually not always in great shape. And so there's typically a premium associated with that if you can find one.
And Jason Todd seems to be rising in prominence. DC is definitely using him more and more.
Yeah.
I know initially when he came back, a lot of people were like, but it seems like over the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, he's definitely grown more and more in popularity. So I think that I could easily see them doing something with him in the future, either as a TV show or a movie. So
especially as Red Hood, which is just such a great character.
So that was my last one for the Batman related stuff. Actually, no, sorry, I have one more. Another villain. I know that most people kind of dismiss him, but I feel like he has a lot of prominence in himself also. I feel like as a fan of the Batman the Animated Series, that this one was also a good pickup. And that is Detective 583, first appearance of Scarface and Ventriloquist.
It's a great book. I was thinking about that one because it's a cool character, especially again if you grew up with the series and all. Yeah,
and he's kind of creepy, and you also feel bad for him though, because like he obviously has a mental disorder that like makes him doing. But I found a newsstand edition of that one also for $42, so I felt like that was a pretty solid investment for a villain of Batman's Rogues Gallery.
It's a great cover too on the orange background. Yeah. It's a cool cover.
So now I'm done with the Batman stuff. So the next one is a relatively low buy-in, and I know I've talked to you about this before. The Green Lantern show is coming up here soon, and they're going to need a villain to really stand out. I know everybody's like more shifting towards Sinestro, which makes sense. I mean, he's always been one of the main bad guys for the Green Lanterns. I went with a different route though. I went with Fatality. I went with Green Lantern 82 and 83, and they had a guy who listed a pair of the pair for $15. I think that included shipping, so I felt like that was a pretty good investment. The other thing is, there are not as many out there as you would. Like, I looked on my comic shop, I looked on eBay, I looked so. I don't think that there's as many out there as you would think for being from the mid 90s.
Could be sitting in people's long boxes too, and
could be.
Again, it's like one of those things where you've read the series, you know this, it's a great character, and people just haven't caught up to that yet.
And the cool thing about her is, so one of the Green Lanterns failed her planet, and so everybody got massacred while she was off training, and she came back, and everybody was dead, and so she swore vengeance on the Green Lantern who did not save her planet. And we find out that that's Jon Stewart, and we know that Jon Stewart's going to play a prominent role in the TV show that's coming up. Yep. So the fact that she hates all Green Lanterns because of that failure, I think that makes her a sympathetic villain, which I think are the best villains. Like, she's doing it because she's trying to avenge, like...
Right. A deeper backstory, something that, you can actually empathize with.
So I think that's a safe bet, I think. And also, like I said, a cheap buy-in. If it blows up, great. If it doesn't, like, $15 isn't, like, a terrible investment in that. So the next 4 are all from one series. And that is Marvel Age. I know we talked about that at the beginning of this video. So there's a lot of rumors regarding Alpha Flight. So I would go with number 2 of Marvel Age. I found one that looked like a high grade copy on eBay for $17. So I felt like that was a pretty safe investment. The second one I went with was number 6, which has a Beta Ray Bill preview.
Yep.
That one I found for $37. Looked like a pretty high grade as well. That number 337 is quickly out of people's reach and everything. So I think that, this one, as people find out that it's out there, I think will grow in value. I don't think it'll ever match 337, but I think that, it's one that will definitely see solid returns on it.
Yeah.
The next one was number 7, which has a Spider-Ham. Also, number 6 has a back cover of Spider-Ham. So, so number 7 also has Spider-Ham. $15. Obviously, Spider-Verse becoming more and more popular. People loving the Spider-Verse characters.
Yeah.
And then the final one, and that's my last one out of all the books, is number 31, Thundercats preview. Obviously, Thundercats are getting more and more popular. $15 looked like a pretty high grade copy on eBay. So
That's pretty good. I think it's circling back, especially for the Gen Xers that grew up with that, and then kind of in the same vein, like Masters of the Universe. And
I sold
and
my
all.
number one before it blew up, and I was like, oh, son of a.
Well, that's how I know a book's going to blow up. I will have sold it, and then I know it's going to do great afterwards.
So I will say that they had a 6.0 copy of that one or a 7.0 copy of that one on My Comic Shop for $7. My Comic Shop had a lot of those, but they were like 7.5s, and the ones I was looking at, I feel like looked better than that kind of condition. So I took the risk and went with the eBay ones, and we'll obviously show you the pictures and show Jason the pictures later on and get his opinion on it. So that's $500 exactly. I don't know what you think of those selections overall.
I think those are great, and I think the Batman Rogues Gallery you'll never go wrong with, and those are really great characters. Renee Montoya's great, Scarface, and the ventriloquist. I think it isn't the Renee Montoya cover have Scarface and the ventriloquist on it, which is also a great cover.
Yep.
And so Jason Todd and Killer Croc. There are so many in there that are still like great classic characters that are still really affordable. Bane being one of them, who's I think is just one of the best.
John Paul Valley is.
John Paul Valley. Actually, I recently picked up First Azrael. But that Azrael series is also still extremely affordable, and it's a great series. And
so the thing with me is like a lot of the ones that I was choosing were like late 70s, mid 80s. As time goes by, they're going to become less and less like available. So I feel like in 10, 15 years, these will see like significant jumps in value. So.
Right, because another 10, 15 years of establishment, and suddenly the characters are 40 years, 50 years old, and they're classic characters. Versus it kind of shifts to the next generation that then, and so I can see that certainly having long-term gains on those.
Well, we will switch spaces here. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to be on my phone while you say yours because you work in a different stratosphere than me sometimes. So
you got some eBaying?
No, I'm talking about yours and Nick's or something.
Oh, mine are a bit obscure.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'll be on my phone looking them up.
So, so the general approach I take is I buy what I like. I read the stories. I buy the characters I enjoy because I think that they have just an inherently great basis, and they're going to be around. And certainly some of these are also popular characters.
No, I know that some of you also choose some to flip to pay for like future books that you want to invest in.
Yeah, sometimes I'll buy multiple copies if I really believe in a character. One that I haven't done for this, but that I'm really I think is fantastic that is going to blow up is Big Barda. Maybe down the line I'll include that in this in our speculation here. But I love Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and the Furies. It's just the early Jack Kirby, Etrigan the Demon. Those are great, and they're still really affordable. And you have the J.J. Abrams Justice League Dark, and all coming up on HBO Max, which they're probably going to do a lot. There's just a whole, assembly of great characters that are still kind of underutilized in that realm, because I love Justice League Dark. It's a great series. They're finally spiking, like Zatanna and, of course, some of the big ones. But even then, they're still kind of relatively, I would say, undervalued compared to, say, the Marvel counterparts. And so, but what also kind of is, growing up with Batman, the animated series, and watching Batman Adventure, or The Batman with my daughter, and also seeing what the kids are kind of growing up with as well. My daughter loves DC superhero girls, and there's a lot of cute characters on there that are great characters that I think also means that they're at the forefront of the creators' minds and all. And so I'll start with one of them. Well, I don't have the first appearance to include today. Maybe I will next time. But one of them is Bumblebee.
Okay.
So this is her first actual cover appearance. Her first, Karen Beecher, first appearance, I think, was Teen Titans number 45. Teen Titans number 49 is her first cover. Teen Titans 48 is her first appearance as Bumblebee. Not the greatest cover. It also kind of introduces the Harlequin, which is Joker's daughter in
Didn't
that
age
issue.
well. The cover didn't age well.
48. Yeah, it's a little, but she's a great character. It's kind of an underknown. She's actually, from my understanding, the first African American hero for DC Comics.
She's pretty prominent in the DC superhero girls.
And she's pretty prominent in the DC superhero girls. So I could see her.
And those books do very well for it. Like those graphic novels do pretty well for us, the superhero girls ones. And
yeah.
So there's going to be, like you said, a whole generation of hopefully future readers that
grew up with her, and maybe she'll make it into the DCU at some point.
Yeah.
She's a cool character. I think they're probably holding off right now because it would seem too much like Wasp.
Yeah.
But again, it's an undervalued. This was $10. Get her first cover appearance. First appearance is also extremely undervalued. Like I said, I'll probably use that in a later one. So that would be my first pick.
Well, having that one actually in hand, what do you think that one will probably grade out at?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say like a 9.496.
Okay.
Like I said, I picked it up for about $10 off eBay. High grade. That's the other benefit is these are so affordable. Like you can just hold out and try and get as high a grade a copy as possible and not have to break the bank on them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I targeted with some of these as well. And as you know, like I'm not a very diverse portfolio person in this. So thus far, it's going to be all very DC centric because that's what I enjoy.
Gotcha.
So, but that's where I also think there's a lot of value to be found.
I would also recommend that the buyers, when they buy things, that they know what they're buying, because the more you know about it, the less you'll be taken advantage of. And
Right. If you see something coming up where it's like, oh, first cameo, like, well, what is the nature of that cameo? I think Jessica Cruz that I'll get to is a good example. It's like there's one cameo where it's her hand. Mm-hmm. And it's like find the issue where you feel it really maybe actually I'll segue into that, comes together. And for me, that's going to be 31, Justice League 31, where she's actually first cover appearance, kind of first really full. I know they show her full body, I think, in 30, but I think this will ultimately be the book.
I just sent out 2 copies of number 30 and one of 31, or the other way around, yesterday. So
30 is really cheap. I think you can get it for $30 or less. Again, with modern books, sometimes it's for the first appearances, it's you want to try and find if there is some sort of rarity that you can obtain while within reasonable price. For me, it's these for this one, the digital combo pack copy.
How much was this one?
This one was $200.
200.
200.
Use 40% of your budget on that.
I know, but she's a cool character. I don't see her going anywhere. I think she'll be in the HBO Max series most likely.
So let's tell the people about her. She's very interesting as a Green Lantern character because of her phobia, like that she has.
Right, and originally she also didn't get a Green Lantern ring. She got Power Ring from I think it was from what's his name? Power Ring from the what's the group? Crime Syndicate. Yeah. All right, and so it was a bit of a path for her to get to be a Green Lantern.
And she has a lot of doubts and anxiety.
Exactly. And so this is a character I think a lot of people could relate with, and it's
So I compare her a lot to another Jessica, and that's Jessica Jones, who kind of like is a damaged character. You're like, oh, come on, you can do it, kind of thing. So they grow as they go along. There's things that they're not perfect, and you feel like they're on a journey to being better people, and I think that helps her like with her connection with people.
Right, I agree, and so I think that's yeah. So that was a big chunk of the budget, but it's also it's a character I like. It's a good book. And so again, I just try.
Likely to see a spike here soon.
So likely to see a spike, and so some of the ones I buy, it's also some to flip. Some also to get in on the ground floor before it becomes ridiculous for characters I enjoy that I just want a copy.
Simon Baz is another one I feel like.
He's a good one.
His first appearance is dirt cheap. It's ridiculous.
Even Kyle Rayner's still pretty cheap comparatively. It's starting to go up, but you can get a 9.8 raw probably for $50 or less.
Yeah, if these characters are on the HBO Max series, I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. No,
especially as people stay. Obviously, Showcase 22, first Hal Jordan is just out of sight now for the casual collector. Yeah. John Stewart is going up quite a bit. It's you still may be able to find a decent copy for. I think you could still get a 7 or an 8 for under $1,000. But again, that's still getting up there for just the casual collector that wants to try and get into the market. Guy Gardner is still reasonable. One that I'll actually then throw. So it's going to start to trickle down as people try to then get the next Green Lantern character that is within affordable range.
Even Kid Lantern, I think they see some big gains here. She's an interesting character.
I'm not familiar with that one yet.
It's the one that like hacked the battery or whatever.
Oh, okay. I have to read that storyline. See, it's fun to kind of see the difference. There's so many storylines.
Yeah.
But kind of also staying on Green Lantern, I don't have it in hand, but I'll include in here is I bought a first, ended up being a newsstand, first appearance of Kilowog. Mm-hmm. Great character, the drill sergeant for the Corps, really popular.
What, 200?
What's that?
It was what, 200? Issue 200?
It was Green Lantern Corps number 201.
201. It was around there.
It's a little tricky, that white cover. I think I paid $75 for it. And 9/8s and 9/6s are all starting to spike, but he's just a great character. So I'm actually going to include him amongst my thing this week,
gotcha.
my portfolio. So what am I at? 280, 290, give or take. Next one is going to be Action Comics 521. Oh. This is the first appearance of Vixen. This is a big character. She's in all the shows. She's been around for a while now. I guess this is I don't know what the year on this was, 1980s. But I picked a high grade for $50, maybe a 9.4, 9.6.
DC seems to be using her a lot.
You see her in a lot more, especially in the animated shows and movies. Like, she's a key member of the Justice League. And so I foresee her eventually becoming a more popular character.
And I think that's one of the things that if you are going to invest in books and stuff, you should watch what the kids are watching.
Exactly.
Because 10, 15, 20 years from now, they're going to be the ones buying the stuff that, that they have fond memories of. So.
Right. Just like we kind of go back for the ones.
Look at Harley Quinn. I mean.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's who's going to push the market.
Yeah.
So $50, I think it's a good buy. It's a hard cover to get in high grade because of the black spine and all. So now's a good time to be able to get them because there's not much competition. You can pick up a high grade copy.
Yeah.
This one is just kind of a flyer. Honestly, it's JLA number 6. It's actually first appearance of Zariel, the Angel, who is a big part of the Justice League Dark, part of the team and all. And so if the HBO Max show comes out, I can imagine this will probably see a spike, and you can get it for $5.
A Grant Morrison creation.
Yep.
Filling the Hawkman role of the JLA group at that point.
That's right. And so I would find it hard to believe that he wouldn't make a appearance or whatnot. It's a big character who's still around and constantly involved with the Justice League Dark. So again, you can't go wrong for $5 on a character. Cheap buy-in on a high grade. Then this one, it's a prominent character, maybe for some more for I think reasons that are ridiculous, but either way, I think he's a great character, which is first appearance of John Kent. Mm-hmm. Plus, I love the cover. It's a great, what I think is kind of a future classic cover of him finding the cape and all. And you can get it for $30.
One of my favorite creations of the last 5-10 years.
John Kent.
Yeah.
John Kent. He's a great character. I think he's really popular. Going to be with the next generation as well. I think he's really fascinating, and you can pick up the copy for this was $30.
There is a lot of white on it, so you want to make sure you look for smudges and.
Got to be really careful with those edges, and exactly, and really on eBay, really try to stick with sellers that will take high grade or high quality pictures of the corners, the edges, front, back, and so it just takes just a keen eye, and don't do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Many a bad purchase is on the phone of things that looked great, and then you pull it up on the computer and just like, oh crap, the quality was not sufficient for doing this exercise.
And he's gotten a lot of media attention recently.
He has
with the coming out as bisexual.
Right. So it's great. You're getting more inclusive characters coming in, which then makes them more broadens the appeal, but also more, I would argue, like culturally significant characters.
Well, I'll say even if you take those two things out of it, just the fact that he got the media attention and made people aware that he is a new character and out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more people that are aware of a book, the more people want it. So
That's true, and it'll appeal to its own new generation and groups, and that's wonderful. He's a great character, so it'll be neat to see where he goes. So it's good to buy in. Was this 2016? Pretty new, young character, so it's a good time to buy in on him.
I love the character. I just think Bendis damaged him. But
What's that?
I think Bendis damaged him
Oh.
by aging him up. But I still love him as a character. But.
Yeah, I think he's great, and it's like I said, I love the cover. So
and him and Damien have a great relationship. So
right. You got kind of the Super Sons as well with Damien, who's another great
future world's finest pairing.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's moving on, kind of generational. Last one, this one, actually, I had the original payment on here. I paid $13.45 for this, and I think this is Justice League 107. So this is a lot of characters that were not originally DC. So you've got Phantom Lady, Uncle Sam, all these old Golden Age characters that this is their first appearance coming in as DC characters. In DC continuity. So you got the Human Bomb, Phantom Lady, I forget who the small one, Doll Man, that's it. Uncle Sam, the Ray, who actually gets used a lot, and Black Condor. So
Uncle Sam had a 2-issue miniseries by Alex Ross. I don't even know how long ago at this point.
I don't know, but then they had the Freedom Fighter series
awesome.
that I heard was really. I have not read it yet. I should, but I've heard it's a great series.
I just pointed out the Uncle Sam because it was beautiful.
The Uncle Sam, I'm sure if it's Alex Ross. So, and again, a book that can be had pretty inexpensive. Wouldn't surprise me a Phantom Lady. Just kind of a cult following figure as it is.
And a cheap way to get those characters as opposed to going back to their original appearances.
The Phantom Ladies are out of sight. Yeah. And that's the buy-in on that is low grade and still over $1,000. Yeah. So for under $50 or less, I paid $13 for this. If you hunt enough, you can find a good copy. It's a great cover because then you've also got a lot of the Golden Age Black Canary, Golden Age Sandman, Dr. Fate, and all. And so it's just it's a neat cover.
Good purchases. So
this would be my starter portfolio. I'll have to do the tally, but I think I'm at, say, $350 or so.
So $150 left over for next time.
So I'm saving. I'll do a formal pricing accumulation, but I think I got some left over.
Sounds good. Definitely some good purchases. Like you said, you're definitely a DC fan through and through. Like I said, everybody's going to have their different approaches to it. There are a lot of tools out there for people also. I would also, we didn't mention it in the opening, but I forget whether I've told you about it. There's a website out there called comicbookgradingtool.com. You can actually type in the defects and it'll tell you the grade as you go along. So, like you
That's
said,
pretty nifty.
Definitely use a computer, go through, zoom in on the eBay listing, on the pictures and stuff, and put in each defect that you see, and maybe ask the seller also, is there anything I can't see on the...
Right, because a lot of people, they forget, tears to the inside drop the grade, and make sure the seller is absolutely showing photos of the inside centerfold. You want to see that those staples are tight, but also that there's not rust hiding in there.
I always forget to do that when
do as I say, not as I do, kind of going on here, but because I am also guilty of that. But it is something that one should do. Definitely moisture marks. Keep a sharp eye for those.
And the thing is, I think you and I are both pretty much on the same page of this. I think we're both readers. We love the comic industry and stuff. Like, we don't do it as like a speculation sort of thing. We do it because you want to, get the books that you love. As a store, obviously I need to sell the stuff, but but I think first and foremost, we both love the characters and we love to read and everything. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do with this portfolio thing, was not necessarily like, oh, you should invest in this book. And I want to make it clear, we're not telling you to invest in any of these books. We're doing this more as like a fun exercise and show people that, you can use the hobby to move on to bigger books that you have your eye on. Things aren't out of reach. Like like some people would lead you to believe. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely those $100,000 books that may be a little bit out of reach and stuff, but there's other alternatives that you can get that are very good purchases also. So
absolutely, and it's I think it's also and what I tried to do with these is pull up characters I enjoy that maybe aren't popular yet, also to introduce people to some of these more obscure characters and lines, but that I enjoy, that they may or may not, rather than chasing the latest like key collectors highlight or something like that. It's like, if you want to get ahead in the collecting, just go back and really read the stories, find the characters you like and buy them, and then that's
so
how
I'm
you do
not
it.
a fan of key collector. I make it clear, like I'm not that big of a fan of it. But I do think that they are a decent tool. Like, so if you're looking for a specific character, I mean, their search bar, you can type in a character to tell you first appearances and key moments in there. And I definitely use that sort of thing for them. But like you said, whenever they say like, oh, like this is the hot book or whatever, and then they claim like, well, we didn't tell you to buy that. I feel like that's talking out to both sides of their mouth. And like,
right, and then it kind of loses the fun if you're just if you're
robot.
already. What's that?
Being a robot, just doing
yeah, and if you're waiting already for somebody else to tell you what to chase, you should really read the stories and find out if you like it or not. I get there, people will always flip. Like I said, that's not the approach I come from, but as a result of that, I've got a lot of books that then jump up in value later on because
my point of advice to speculators have always been to read, because I'm like, that way you have some investment in the book besides just monetary, and it'll help you out in the long run. I think
right.
that the more you care about it, the better. I did want to, like, we'll talk about it on camera. Did we want to start doing like a point thing? Like, hey, we'll come up with like a low grade grail, mid-tier grail, like those are the targets we're trying to get to, or
yeah, maybe I have to give it some thought in terms of what we're maybe a cap that we're trying to build up towards. Maybe we'll have to give that some thought for the next session.
Yeah, because I think that would be cool. It's like if we're working towards certain things, that way we can like track it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll also in future episodes go, oh, this book went up, this book went down, sort of thing, and that's so.
Yeah.
Oh, you have money left over, and I don't.
And like I said, these are probably going to be a lot of long-term holds.
You can eat this week.
There's 2 weeks is not going to help these, but
No.
But that's okay. But that's the time to kind of get in on them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I took more of a mercenary approach, like when we were doing this, in terms of like which one of these I think are gonna like go up in price like faster than others. Like I said, I think the Thundercats one and the Beta Ray Bill ones are good short term like flips in the once those movies come up. So
yeah, yep. No, Marvel. I mean, definitely to get the kind of short term flips, Marvel will be the one. Holding out hope that DC will get its stuff together.
Me too.
But again, it doesn't matter if you buy what you enjoy as a collector, then you'll never it'll never bother you. Yeah. So that's the key.
This is Jason.
This is Jake.
And we're here doing something a little different here with John. We're here to kind of reveal our picks for our comic portfolio, kind of a chance for us to do some sort of investing fun, a little different out of our comfort zone kind of collecting, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to go. Do you want to go first or should I go first?
You can go first.
All right. So I thought that I was going to go a slightly different direction. I've been researching kind of a lot of DC books, a lot of stuff underappreciated. But I still can't come off of staying with buying stuff I really like. And I was browsing eBay and I found a high grade copy. It looks like it's a 9.6 or 9.8 candidate from what I can see in the pictures of Young Avengers #1. And going with that, absolutely, for $3.99 right now for raw, which is actually a pretty good deal because a 9.6, 9.8 looks like it's going for $1,000 and up right now on current eBay prices. And with the current, my thinking is Kate Bishop is hot, will be. We've got the series starting, and if it's a book, I think now is the time. If you haven't already got it, I think that book's going to do nothing but shoot up.
Lots of first appearances in that.
Lots of first appearances, but that's the one that kind of takes it for me. I think she's prime for Disney Plus success.
You have Wiccan, you have Hulkling,
Absolutely.
Iron Lad.
So it's kind of you get a ton of first appearances, And like I said,
A lot
I
of
get
people compare that one to like Giant Size X-Men of this generation because of how many first appearances there are in it.
Absolutely, and I think it's one of those books that's going to do nothing. Like when Jake and I picked up our Spider-Man 300, it's going to do nothing but go up. So I figured now is as good a time as any, and I thought $3.99 for a high quality raw copy was great.
So Tim and I talked about this. Like raw is where you really want to go if you're looking to get a bigger return on your investment.
Absolutely.
If you want more safety, yes, you want to go with the one that's already graded because then you know the grade.
Definitely more potential for upside, right? Because if you do get lucky and get that 9.6, 9.8, sky's the limit because that's what the value does to that instantly. And I felt for this one, even if that price, if it comes back even as low as a 9.4, I wouldn't be terribly disappointed. I think that's a quality book.
Well, if they do a Young Avengers show or movie, then that one's going to move.
Yeah, and from what I can see from Haley Steinfeld, she's nailing the part in all the previews and the trailers. And regardless of what happens with the main, Clint as Hawkeye, I think she's got a bright future. And it feels like Disney is kind of building towards, like you say, a Young Avengers thing. And I think if that happens, I think sky's the limit for that character in that book.
Yeah.
And along those lines, I kind of browsing around. That took up most of my budget for this session, but I did find what I think is a good value pick, and that's Hawkeye number 11,
Okay.
the Pizza Dog issue, because I think once that series hits, he's obviously Lucky the Pizza Dog is in the series.
Yeah.
I picked a copy up for myself a couple of months ago, maybe as far as 3 months back, because I've just been a big Hawkeye fan for a long time, and that issue was great. And I picked it up for 10. It's already gone 30 raw, so I picked a copy up for $29.99, high grade copy. And I think that's another one of those that it's not his first appearance, but it's a very unique issue. I think that won an Eisner Award, if I'm not mistaken, for that year. A pretty novel book. And I think people that get introduced to this character in that series are going to hunt it down.
So that one has the potential to be like the West Coast Avengers. Was it number 57, the one with the white Vision on the cover?
Exactly. I think it's an iconic cover. The story it's just a great. I think it's something that once people find that character, and I think they're going to ride kind of the Hawkeye and the Kate Bishop hype, and I think that's going to go right into Lucky the Pizza Dog.
Yeah, because like I said, we saw what the white Vision did for West Coast Avengers,
Oh,
books
yeah,
that nobody
that
cared
popped
about for years.
So, and my thought was I would roll over the rest. It's that leaves me a little bit of money, but not a lot to get into something quality wise.
All right.
So I was figuring that would be my two picks.
So you're saving $70 for your next time?
Yeah, I think so. My thought was, depending on how you look at the rules too, and if I was,
Well, you can get the one press, the Young Avengers press.
that's exactly what I was thinking. You could take that extra money and roll it into pressing, and then the grading, and then get the most out of those two books as possible, especially that Young Avengers. So, what are you thinking, Jake?
So for mine, I did 2 books. They were both.
Well, let's talk about how your rules are a little bit different than ours.
So instead of the 500, because I'm a kid, I got 100 that I have to spend and then work my way up.
Yep.
Yeah, the idea of making it accessible for like $500 is not unreasonable for an adult to get together and start building a collection. And so we thought $100 with a little bit of hard work and elbow grease is reasonable for a kid Jake's age to hit.
So I went right up to the dot on this. I got 2 books, one eBay price. I have this guy is making an appearance. It is Iron Man number 282 and 283. The first and second cover appearance of War Machine. He is getting his own Armor Wars series, plus with Iron Man stepping away from the MCU, he might be a more important role in the future. And it was a great deal for the first and the second, and no matter what, even if they don't go up, it would still be profit from both.
And he's already showing that he's a very important character within the MCU. So I know he's also one of your favorites.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds like both of you stayed within your.
We did. We stayed within our for us. Even I think if we're collecting for an investment, I still fall back to buy what you love, because if it doesn't work out and I end up losing all this, and I've still picked stuff, or if I was buying it, I would have stuff at the end of the day that I'm still happy with. And I still can't completely leave that behind. And as much as I wanted to stay away from modern, I think that's, that your book is pressing. It's not necessarily what I would call modern. The Young Avengers, yeah, but I feel like the timing is good for those picks right now.
So how much was that?
It was $99.
$99.
He took it right up to the edge.
Some good picks, guys, and I know our cameraman's going to put this together. And I will tell you, Tim didn't use all of his money either, but it sounds like Jake and I are gonna be spending all of our money each time. So.
I tried. It's just tough when you get to a certain point.
So, how did you guys think about this exercise overall? Did you guys have fun?
I enjoyed it. It's fun to shop eBay and not spend the money, and it keeps me out of trouble with the wife.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see what kind of portfolios we all build. I think we're all going to come at it from a different angle.
Yeah, and you're going to help me build the website for the comic portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people
Hopefully we'll get a cool stock ticker there and kind of track the value of some of these things over time.
Yeah, so people can go to each one of our picks and we can like do the different stuff.
Yep, and we'll for the stuff that we're finding on eBay, we'll provide the links. So if it's there, have at it, grab it. If not, at least you can see the historic listing for what we were kind of referencing.
There you go. Well, thank you guys for participating, and thank everybody for watching. So that's our first episode. If you want to play along, you can do that as well. Put together your portfolio at your house. We're gonna try and launch a website also, and for this where you can track like each of our portfolios, and you'll follow our tiers of some of the books we thought were gonna go up.
Yeah, the tiers when they just don't do anything.
Yes. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed us. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe to your local comic book shop, Brainstorm Comics and Gaming's YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.